KlarGeld in 8 minutes. Time well spent for more time in your life. Today, what forms can money take? Money, a term so ingrained in our daily lives, has taken many forms throughout history. Let's start our journey with barter, the first and most original method of trade. Here, people directly exchanged goods and services they owned or could offer for those they needed. However, this method had obvious weaknesses. The need for matching needs, the difficulty in comparing the value of different goods, and the challenge of trading large or indivisible goods. For example, it was complicated to determine how many fish equal a sheep, how to fairly divide a cow without losing its total value, or how to preserve the value of apples before they spoil. In small societies of up to 200 people, this problem could still be solved with an intermediary medium called reputation. Since people knew each other well, they could trade within such a small society by trusting that the trading partner would settle their debt in the future. For example, it was possible to trade a cow for a smaller amount of apples, with the promise to receive the remaining apples after the harvest in the following year without any further consideration. Thus, reputation was already money. It was used as an intermediary medium of trade, a meta-level of the economy. For larger societies and trade with strangers, this no longer worked. As a solution to these problems, the first physical forms of money developed. Depending on the region and technological progress of these societies, it could be things like salt, pearls, shells, snails, or even huge stones. They all had one property in common: they had to be difficult to obtain, thus rare for that society. Therefore, shells, for example, were considered very valuable in regions far from the sea, as they were difficult to obtain. Near the sea, however, one could simply pick them up on the beach, making them not good money there. Even though some of these forms of money were successful and stable in value for several thousand years, every money has an expiration date. This is usually set when the society has found or invented something that fulfills the properties of money better, or at the latest, when its own money is no longer rare. In some societies, shells lost their status as money because someone suddenly brought large quantities of shells into the economy of these societies. This undermined trust in this form of money, and it was replaced by another. Besides rarity, there are other properties that must be fulfilled for something to become good money. Divisibility, portability, durability, and verifiability are the most important. These properties are the reason why things like leaves never manage to become money in a society. Thanks to these properties, a special form of money gradually prevailed in most societies: the metal coin. Especially gold coins became the prevailing means of money with the greatest trust due to their superior properties, rarity and durability, and the imprint by state authorities. Over time, humans have devised an even better system by further improving the properties of portability and verifiability: gold-backed paper money. Paper money, which originally represented a type of promissory note that could be exchanged for a certain amount of gold, enabled much greater flexibility and ease in trade. However, this form of money had not only improvements. The real money was still the gold, which was now stored centrally in banks, and the paper money was merely a voucher for money. As long as there is trust in this form of money, it is the best form of money to date. However, trust can also decline, for example, if more paper money is in circulation than there is actually gold in the banks. This can happen either if the gold is stolen or secretly sold, or if too much paper money is put into circulation. The latter also led to the end of this form of money in 1971, when the then American President Nixon lifted the gold backing of the dollar, and thus its rarity. Thus, the money supply of our current currencies is controlled by the central bank's interest rate policy. Meanwhile, our currencies are no longer just coins and notes, but the majority are simple database entries on computers of banks. It is also interesting that in certain situations, unusual things can become money. A good example of this are cigarettes in prisons, which serve as currency because they are scarce and sought after, and also fulfill the other properties of money: divisibility, portability, durability, and verifiability. Money is ultimately a meta-level for value. The specific form it takes is incidental as long as the basic properties are fulfilled. This leads us to the realization that money can also exist in a purely digital form. Digital money can even fulfill some properties of money better than traditional forms, but it can also bring about entirely different dangers. In summary, money is a fascinating concept that has existed in many forms and will continue to exist. It reflects human innovation and shows our ability to find solutions to complex problems of trade and value storage. As long as we recognize and trust the value in something, almost anything can become money. The future of money may be digital, but the principle remains the same. Money is a universal mediator of value that enables us to navigate and shape the world economy. Do you like the video? Then subscribe to KlarGeld and share it. Do you have criticism, questions, or ideas for future videos? Write it in the comments. Be there next time when we talk about what inflation is.